Tide Talk with Webb is back. We got my buddy Josh Hardy. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things. First thing up on the docket is the comments that Stephen A. Smith and Joel Klatt said. Now, we know Stephen A. Smith is a hack.
Yes.
Okay, he's always getting
Big
clicked.
mouth.
We know that.
Yep.
I'm going to get your take on what his said first. He said, I'm not a fan of Kalen DeBoer, Smith said. As a successor of Nick Saban, I have no problem with him as a football coach. I'm fully aware of what he did at Washington and now know that the Maine wins more than he loses. But I think that Nick Saban had a man of he had the pleasure of getting to know and flew to meet Alabama a couple times to talk to him about the football, to watch him in action, to watch his standard bearer. He was now, and he had accountability in his program, basically. And he said, I wouldn't mind at all if Alabama changed course and brought in someone like Deion Primetime Sanders to Alabama.
No.
Smith told Feinbaum on his show, that would have been spectacular. I think it is something they could still consider down the line if this season is a repeat of last season. Your take?
Well, first off, we made the playoffs, and we lost to the national champions. So I don't see that being that bad. Secondly, Saban, not taking anything away from Nick Saban, he is the greatest coach. If he coached at Alabama or if he didn't, I would still have to say he was the greatest coach ever. But Saban, I think what kicked him out was NIL. Not kicked him out, but made him just kind of part ways with NIL. DeBoer's doing it in a stage where, in a time, I guess, where it's 10 times harder to win, and not to win, just to keep a class together. What you see at Indiana won't happen again. I'm not taking away anything from what they did. They had a fantastic team, but that kind of unity will not happen in this day and age. And you can't take anything away from DeBoer. He's in 2 years, he's made the playoffs. I mean, his second year, you can't really take anything away from the man. He has a good record, and it's kind of hard to keep the recruits. He's going to be back. The portal hurts every team. I don't see how Stephen A. Smith is justified in what he's saying. Now, granted, it kind of looked like at Washington that it might have been a Penix-laden team that helped them win. DeVore's on the right track. To step in after Saban left is a very hard thing to do. First off, you're going to have players that automatically are going to leave because you're not Saban. You have to adjust the mindset to what you're doing, and I think he's a good fit. I really do.
Well, the closest thing you have to Nick Saban is Kirby Smart. And yes. Kirby Smart, compared to what he was when you could stack depth, you could have 3 deep and all that, and before NIL, those days are gone. Even Kirby's not able to do that, and we saw that in the playoffs. Like you said, in Indiana, we've talked about it so many times on this program. I talked about it with you privately. The teams that won the last 3 championships, most of those teams played together 3 years. You don't see that much anymore, and it's hard to see that. That's why Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State prioritize actual high school recruiting, unlike a lot of these other programs. And if you think that doesn't make a damn, go ahead and ask teams like Texas and Texas Tech how much money they've spent and how much championships they have not won. Now, when you talk about Stephen A. Smith, like, you knew what he was saying. Like, he had to have been drunk when he said, oh, yeah, we'll bring in someone like Deion Sanders? What the hell has Deion Sanders done? Like, I mean in college football as a coach, trash.
Yes. He's had a Heisman Trophy winner. That's about it. And he's a 7-5 coach in a mediocre conference.
At best.
So, and you're not going to come to the SEC. I don't care if Vandy's not bad. You can go to South Carolina or Kentucky right now, and he still wouldn't be able to improve those programs, even if you went to the worst ones. This is not happening. The recruiting's different. I don't think that he could get away with all the stuff that he does on the sidelines and all this, like how he did with his son, playing his son's rap music instead of the school's anthem last year, or the school's fight song last year. Like, stuff like that, you just can't do. So,
no.
But as far as back to what Smith said, that's so inaccurate, man. DeBoer's proven at every level he's a winner, and you go to take the shoes of the best coach at one of the hardest programs in the hardest conference to win at, and you're playing now 9 conference games. It's tough. Nobody's going to go undefeated. I mean, it's in this conference. You're not going to.
No, most teams will always, except for the garbage 2 teams they have in, like JMU and Tulane, they'll probably be undefeated. But, Well, maybe Notre Dame, because Notre Dame, they paid somebody, or maybe they knew they kept some Epstein files out of the college football, and so that's why they got that special deal they got to play bums and not join a conference and get in the playoffs. But the other comment Joel Klatt made, and it was pretty interesting, but I still think this guy was drunk too. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was taking DMT, but Joel Klatt said, we all just assume that this program is going to be fine and they'll just be great, Klatt said via On3. But the reality is that they have quickly descended into a place that when I think about their conference, I don't think about them initially. And I don't even think about them in the top three. When I think about the SEC, I immediately think of Georgia, Texas, and oh, by the way, Alabama. They're on the trajectory that is down. I don't think that is going to stop, Klatt said. They have to level out at some point in order to start going back up. But I don't sense that moment of them leveling out. I think that win against Georgia on the road last year was fantastic. There's no doubt. But man, I don't see this team turning it around. I don't love what's going on down there. Is he not like first year 9-4? Okay. Last year we make the playoffs with a quarterback who had a disc issue and colitis or gastro and enteritis anyway. He was playing in the playoffs, still won a playoff game, come back 17 down, won that, and then went and lost to the national championship winning team. What's he smoking? I don't understand. Like, you can't go out there and just find another Nick Saban. The closest, like you said, you got is Smart, and that's it. And he's not even doing it at the rate that we once saw. The teams winning back to back, those days are done.
Yeah, it's well. First off, he did it with on paper we had a good offensive line, but we had a trash line this year that couldn't stop anybody, and that's going to be rectified. The portal has hurt us right now, and we haven't got the numbers back, but I still feel good that we're going to have good quality depth. Just give him time, and you can't judge anybody till their third season. So judge them now. I mean, you see, Ryan Grubb, I thought could do a whole lot better than what he did. That's something that we definitely need to key on. We don't need to ever shy away from the run, but we're still the top three. I can see Texas; they have more money than anybody can. They can print their own money, kind of like A&M. A&M will be back. Will be a good team too. But I can see Texas, Georgia, Alabama. But LSU's going to make a little bit of noise this year just because Kiffin's pulling all the stops. Kiffin's depth is not deep. It's all transfer players. It's all 2-year players. In my mind, it's like a repeat of Jackie Sherrill when he was at Mississippi State, when he took all his JUCOs. If he leaves, that whole program's dead. And it's going to take a few years to get back depth. If you're not recruiting the high school players like we're doing, like Ohio State, Georgia, like you're not going to make it long term. You might get that stellar player. I want to use like a Pavia, for example, to Vanderbilt. Somebody who might just change your program for a second, but you're not going to long term. You're not going to be there. So
no,
that's
and
my
I agree.
view on that. Yeah.
Well, there's another thing. The article by Saturdays Down South that had 5 biggest things that Kalen DeBoer must do in 2026 to win Alabama's fans' trust. Now, I think personally most Bama fans trust him. We like what he's doing. And they're, they try to be a little controversial, and I get it. Their number one was they have to return toughness label to the program that was built on. And I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
I totally agree with that.
But we're also coaching in a different era now. I mean, a kid's like, well, bump you, I don't like you, and just leave or get more money. Like, you can't coach them like they used to 10 years ago. It's just, there's no way you can do that anymore.
No, it's as soon as now certain players you probably can. I'm going to say, especially if their father was a good college athlete or something like that, or they just came from, I don't know the right way to say this, a good family, or where the NIL isn't that big of a deal, you probably can. But yeah, you just flash money and set something in front of somebody's face, and they're gone the second. And you can't tell me that there's not people talking to recruits like Dabo. Dabo has the receipts of where Pete Golding was doing it at Ole Miss. People are talking to your players during the season. You're already making deals as soon as the season's over with, they're gone. Like, that stuff doesn't happen in the portal in one day. It's premeditated. So you're right. It is. I do agree. We need to bring the toughness back, but you cannot do it kind of like when Saban first got there or any of that. Players wanted that toughness, but if you want to win a national championship, you're going to have to be tough on players. You're going to have accountability. You're going to have to hold them in the locker room. There's got to be accountability, even within the team, not the coaches and the team. You have to have that toughness back, and there's got to be certain players to buy in, and that's kind of what we need. We need those Reuben Foster type people. We need the Rolando McClains, Dante Hightowers, all those Reggie Ragland's back, Marcel Darius, just people that Jared Allen's, just people that when they spoke, the whole team listened. And so I don't think on offense wise, like quarterback, we have an issue of that. I think Ty Simpson was very, very, very good at being a leader, but I just think we need on both sides of the ball leaders, and I think also we need an offensive lineman to stand up.
I agree, and that's going right into the second point. We need to revive the running game that fell apart last year, and to expound on that, the running game and the offensive line has been bad for 5.5 years. Sorry, that's the facts. You can look at the numbers. Last year, it totally fell off. Some of that I think was Coach Cap because he's been bad everywhere he's been at. I hated to say it. I did videos on the analysis of it. He was horrible. Now, to me, on the Bama team, to me, by far the hardest job right now, under the most scrutiny, and we need to give him 2 years, is Coach Clem on the offensive line. He literally has one guy, Michael Carroll, coming back, and you have a bunch of guys that really have not played a hell of a lot, and you've got a bunch of highly recruited four-star guys coming in for the offensive line and interior left and right tackles, but they're young. So that's going to be the hardest thing to keep the quarterback straight up and to keep the running backs where they can get a little bit of wiggle room. That's going to be the hardest job. He's done it everywhere he's been, so we got to have faith, but we can't expect miracles his first year.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's going to have to be the scheme for it, but we cannot shy away from the run like we have. If not, then we become one-dimensional, and the athletes in the SEC, they'll just either load us up and blitz us every play, and then just run cover one, and then blitz every play. But you have the athletes to do that in the SEC, where if you just go one-dimensional passing, they're going to shut you down. So it's difficult. Like you said, we have to have the run. The run establishes everything. You control the clock, and that's huge. And I'm glad that we did let go of our offensive line coach. That was our weakness because it starts there, and the physicality wasn't there. The holding the blocks or anything. It's like they kind of forgot schemes, just fundamentals almost.
Mm-hmm. So, no, it was very bad. The third point was you got to pick the right quarterback to replace Simpson. I think that goes without saying. Just because we don't know that the offensive line is going to be, are they going to be porous? Are they not going to be porous? Are they going to come out the gate looking fundamentally sound? I don't know. I think you got to go with a young guy at quarterback because, like I said, you've had Austin Mack. He's been in the system almost 4 years. He wasn't able to even beat out Mack, he wasn't able to beat out Simpson. So Austin Mack, I don't know. I think you need to go with a quicker guy. Austin Mack is a statue like that old Georgia quarterback was, and Carson Beck. So I think you're going to have to go with a young guy who can move around a little bit till that offensive line gets sorted.
Yeah, I was about to say, until we get, even if it's 5-6 games into the season, the offensive line gets somewhat kind of established. But with the young guys, you're not going to throw in a guy at left tackle unless he's like a Chris Samuels back from the 99 era. You're just not going to do that in this day and age. He'll get eaten alive. It's almost like not even having a person there. They'll put their strongest person on him and just destroy us, or their best rusher. Yeah, I would go with a more agile guy, almost kind of like a Jalen Hurts his freshman year.
Yeah.
Just somebody who can get around, and I'm not saying his arm has to be that accurate. I'm not saying Jalen's wasn't. He had a cannon as a freshman, but we need something like that just to keep plays alive. So
yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to have a Freddie Kitchens back there. We just ain't got that right now.
Yes, watching ice melt is him moving around the pocket. Yes.
The fourth point was basically they were saying that Ryan Grubb needs to recreate the magic in T-Town that he had at Washington. I just think he needs to learn how to game plan a little bit better, kind of like, and I know I bring it up all the time, but Tommy Reese was very good at game planning per team that we played. And I think that Grubb needs to get a little bit quicker, like, hey, the first 10 plays of the scripted plays aren't working. We got to go with something else. This ain't working. And be able to shift gears very fast if he's not game planning every single game, for every single team, I think.
He should be able to, just because of the assistance on the on the payroll or on the staff. I mean, you have great coaches that are off the field coaches that can go ahead and start game planning for you and not even or at least breaking film down. That's the one thing that I find it hard that he never has done, and you can tell he hasn't done it because he stays with the same plays. Even at halftime, we barely ever adjust. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Ryan Grubb has to step it up, and hopefully he will. Um, he had a heck of a quarterback though at Washington. I mean,
Yeah.
a once every decade type quarterback. So I'm not saying he. I think he had a lot of pressure his first year here, a ton of pressure. I think people thought that he was going to be all world and our offense is going to be number one in the nation, but it's tough to hold up to those kind of standards. And I think he will make strides this year. Hopefully, he's
No, I
learned
think
from a
so
lot of
too.
mistakes.
And if he don't, he'll be obviously gone. Hopefully not. I hope he
Yes.
does great things, man. But the fifth and final point was do what Nick Saban did in year 3, or at least come close to a championship. I disagree with that one, honestly, because now the focus, in my opinion, is obviously everybody's canceling big out of conference games. Notre Dame set the precedence that it doesn't matter who you play as long as you go close to undefeated, no more than 2 losses. I think the SEC should scrap the title game. I think that's garbage. Just do it like you did before the 90s and just say, no, here's the tiebreakers. Here's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. Be done with it. And I don't think it's about championships. I think it's about getting the playoffs consistently. Yes, it'd be nice to have a championship, but I mean, in this new era, Georgia hadn't come close.
Yeah, it's conference championships
Texas
mean
hadn't even
nothing
come
now.
close.
Yeah, to me, because you're still splitting the same amount of money among the schools as in regular bowl games. The only time you get more is the Natty, I think. Or I believe
Mm-hmm.
that's it. But
Yeah.
I would definitely scratch it because you go to the SEC championship, I wouldn't even want to go because you're going to play Georgia or you're going to play Texas right now.
And you probably played them once already in the season.
Yes, and or A&M. A&M's defense is going to be stacked again next year. Nobody wants to play in that game. It's just an extra game that you're going to get hurt because you're already so many games played during the season against 9 SEC schools that you're not going to play a 10th one. So then when you go play, if you get a first round bye, which you probably won't, because you're going to lose some games in the year playing the SEC, so you're going to have to play that first round, and you're just going to get more beat up and more beat up while somebody, no offense to Indiana, they were very good, but played an easier schedule, even though they did beat Alabama significantly, and just get that first round bye, and then you're sitting there super rested, haven't played in weeks, and then you're just getting with a team that's barely holding themselves together medically, so or
Mm-hmm.
physically, yeah. So
No, and I agree. And like I said, now that you can't build any depth, you get a few guys on the first string, whether it be offense or defense, and they're key guys, and makes a huge difference, massive difference.
yes,
So it's not like it was where you're like, next guy up, whatever. No, it ain't like that no more for anybody. It doesn't matter if you're Ohio State, Texas, whoever. Nobody has got talent like that because they'd rather go somewhere else to make the same amount of money and play. So you've got that aspect in there as well. And I totally agree. I mean, and a lot of guys are already, it's kind of funny. They're already predicting wins and losses. I've seen these videos. And for us, because the only group that I think set in stone is that defensive backfield, and they'll probably be one of the best in the country. We got to rebuild the linebacker core. We got to rebuild the defensive line. A totally gutted offensive line, new quarterback. I hope we can go 9-4. I'm going to be really
yes,
honest with you.
yes. If we
I'm
touch
not
double
predicting
digits, I'll be
playoffs.
shocked. Yeah, if we hit 10 wins, I want to be shocked. And the linebackers, we just need somebody on defense to set the tone. Even if it's not a linebacker, like a Humphreys type safety. If we could, I don't know if they make a Mark Barron anymore, but if a Mark Barron type safety, Fitzpatrick, we just need somebody to set the tone, and I think
Yeah.
others will follow. We just haven't
You,
had
you
that one.
need, you honestly, out of every 3 guys, you need 1 church boy and you need 3 dudes that'll come off the porch and slap you in front of your mom and look
Yes,
at you.
yes. I mean that's it.
I
I
mean,
and it's not like we don't have the athletes there. Or the aggressiveness. I just something has to happen in that locker room, or the strength conditioning coach in the offseason. Something's just got to snap on somebody
well, I can
and
tell
bring
you what
back.
needs to snap. No more paint your damn fingernails. No more
I agree
ice
with that.
cream
Yeah.
trucks at spring practice.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
Yeah. I mean, I get being a player's coach to an extent, but at the end of the day, you're a coach, and those kids kind of control your paycheck because if you're not winning, you're gone. So
Mhm.
it's you can only take that so far. But yeah, I would go back to not when Nick Saban first came in and ripped all the TVs out of the facility and you had to earn everything back. But I would definitely make it like, hey guys, my family's depending on this, and I want to see you succeed just as much as I want to succeed.
Mhm.
And also point back to if we do it as a championship way, like look at all the people in the NFL. You just got to walk in that, and just in Saban's time, look at all the Heisman Trophy winners. Look at all the first round picks. Look at all the All Americans. I mean, every award that there was, we won. Or Saban, one of his players won. Like, and that's because of physicality and buying into a program and not tapping out. That's what we need back. And that's it's just hard, but
We
I
need
believe
we
we can do
need
it.
more guys, and maybe it's just the era, but we need more guys that want to go out there and make people's asses quit. Now, some of the soft shit, I think, is, and I hate to say it, and you don't see it on a lot of teams, but you got the money aspect where these kids, they're not trying to get the NFL because hell, they're making better money sometimes staying an extra year in college than they would in the NFL. So it's like, well, I mean, yeah, you want to win and you're competitive, but that drive to keep going and get out of where you came from and not go back isn't there as much as it used to be 5 years
Yes.
ago. It's just not.
Yeah, because you don't. You're the only way you got to touch that money is when you got to the league. And now, yeah, you're making more than league minimum. I mean, there was
Mm-hmm.
people in college making more than Brock Purdy was when he was a
Yeah.
rookie. And so
Most of your
it's
big D1 quarterbacks were making more a year than he was.
yeah, so that's and that is hard to tell them. But something's just got to give, and you'll see it's hurting every program. It's not just Bama. Every
Mm-hmm.
program's getting rocked by it. And again, no offense to Indiana, no offense to Texas Tech, no offense to any of them. Even money's not going to make you win. You're just going to pull a lot of eyes together. I don't. I believe Texas will be good, but I don't think they'll be as good as projected this year. And they've used all that money. They got Cam Coleman. They got the Hollywood boy from NC State. They're going to be decent, but I just don't think they'll be able to hold it together.
I don't know, man. It really depends on me on that team right now. Um, it's probably going to depend on Arch Manning, and like I said with LSU, everybody's like penciling them for a national championship. I'm not buying it yet. You got a bunch of guys who hadn't played together, a bunch of prima donnas. You're paying guys that literally they played one guy out of, and I said this before, out of Tennessee. He's an edge rusher, and he was a starter last year and had one sack all year. They paid him $1 million, and it's like, you know, there's no guarantee those guys are going to gel. We saw what Ohio State did with a 3-year roster. We saw what Michigan did with a 4 to 5-year roster. We saw what Indiana did with a guaranteed 3-year roster. I'm just not buying these. Let's put together all this money and we can just win a championship. I don't see it yet. And I think, I think next year the teams that'll win will probably be the team that has the most 3-year guys together, whoever that may be.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I think Indiana will probably make a playoff spot. Will they win it? I'd put everything I own. They don't win it again back to back.
No, I mean, and Signetti's, but he was a very smart quarterback, very calculated, didn't make a lot of mistakes. If he did make that one mistake, he wouldn't make it again, like all season, not again. So
Mm-hmm.
that's going to really hurt. I'm not taking away anything from their head coach. He will find somebody, but that's just a very tough team. Now they were undersized, but they played together. They knew each other's weaknesses, and everybody um, made each other look better. They played just as one unit, and that's not like you said. I don't know who stayed together the most, but yeah, whoever it is going to be it's going to be really good. I see A&M going deep. I don't know why. I just see that team,
They
that
got a lot of
defense.
young starters. I definitely, I could see that. SEC wise, definitely Georgia's always in it, in my opinion.
Yes.
Bama, not so much this year. LSU, just because of the money they spent, I could see that. Not winning it, but I could see them getting there. And Tennessee's always a wild card. You just never know with
Yes.
those
Yeah.
guys.
They could
They're
go
usually
9-10
good.
games. Yeah.
And obviously A&M is going to be in the mix of things. Obviously, they got a lot of guys coming back. Now, Marcel Reed, their quarterback, he may struggle because he'll probably be on his back most of the year because he's going to have old Wilcom Formby on
Yes.
his tackle. So that may be
Yeah.
a problem for him. But
That's going to be tough, but it's going to be a good season. I just hope that we get some kind of physicality back, and we'll see here when spring comes up, when it's right around the corner. get a little glimpse of what spring practice is like. It would be nice if they just kind of went back and made no starters, no nothing, just made everybody earn their spots again. And
they'll have to do that in a lot of positions because everything, in my opinion, is open, especially the offensive line. Hell, you may have 3 guys starting that were playing high school ball last year because they may be the best, but we'll see. But anyway, well, that's Tide Talk Web, and we appreciate you coming on the show, Josh.
All right, brother. Talk to you later, man.